Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala barakatuh. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya al-mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Alhamdulillah, we're still on chapter 4 of our book, Positive Islamic Psychology, a Transcendent Model to Achieve Peace, Happiness and Success in the 21st Century. And today we are going to continue on chapter 4 on the subtopic of the self-fulfilling prophecy or the Pygmalion effect. So this is a phenomena that has been studied widely by a lot of psychologists all over the world. And basically, if you think that you're going to do badly, you're going to do badly. If you think you're going to do well, you're going to do well. Because all these are conditioning within the framework of the laws of learning, which I'm going to explain to you. But these are inputs in which, that's why for Muslims, we always use the term, inshallah, if by the grace or the will of Allah, in a way for us to understand that whatever good that we want to do, it is by His grace. And that increase the likelihood that is going to happen, because not only that you are psychologically primed to receive that gift from Allah, but you also get a lot of the universe, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala giving you that gift. So it's not just a mere wishful thinking, but a reality that can be practiced by every believers who understand this law. They call it the law of attraction or the law of fulfilling your wishes, whatever they want to call it. But the idea is very simple. So let's go to chapter 4, this Professor Mahdi Jenkins on the Pygmalion effect or self-fulfilling prophecy. When others place expectation on us, or particularly when we place expectation on ourselves, whether it is placed by society or somebody else of your family or yourself, we increase the likelihood of acting in accordance with those expectations. So in the previous example here, Prof. Mahdi explained, if an overweight person has social expectation upon them to be jolly. So if you are overweight, to overcome the negative feelings of being overweight, you become more like a jolly person, all right? Then the likelihood of that they will act in that jolly manner is increased. So you find a lot of overweight person, it's not to degrade them, but they tend to become jolly, to mask over their sense of less worth because of being overweight. The process is called self-fulfilling prophecy or the Pygmalion effect. The concept of self-fulfilling prophecy is much broader than that. The belief held, for whatever reason, that something is going to happen, increase the likelihood that that thing is going to happen. So you keep on thinking, people who say, for example, they keep on thinking about something bad, and they keep on thinking about something bad, that something bad can likely to happen, because basically it's in a way sending out the signal from your subconscious mind to the realm of this universe. Something bad is going to happen to you. So that is, in Islam, that is not encouraged, and it is something that is important for us to be optimistic and not think about anything bad about ourselves, our family, the individual, or even the world. No matter what it is, what we expect will happen, that thing becomes more likely because it is expected. The self-fulfilling prophecy does not make things happen. It creates a set of circumstances which increases the probability. So circumstances and probability. Statistically, this has been proven many times with a lot of psychological experiments, with school children, with exams, with games and so on, which show that if you have this fulfilling prophecy of you're going to win that game, you are more likely to win. If we expect to do well at something, that expectation increases the chance that we will do well. All right. Similarly, if we expect to do poorly at something, that expectation increases the chance we'll do poorly. It is also an effect of self-fulfilling prophecy. For example, if a person believes they're going to do well at something, they create a positive attitude towards the thing they're going to do. That positive feeling facilitates smooth and successful performance. So for example, a gymnast, they believe they're going to do well, then they have a full, flawless performance. But if they think, oh, they're stressed out, they think that, the competition is too tough, you're not going to do well, they may just fall. If a person expects something to happen to them in the future, they always act in ways, many of them unconscious or subconscious, to make that thing happen. So similarly, if someone believes that we are going to break a leg, that belief actually increases the chance that they will break their leg. So this has been proven many times also. That belief will act upon that person in many ways, largely subconscious, and the combined effect of those influences increase the probability that the person will break their leg. If only 1% believe that the world is going to become a peaceful and living place, that would somewhat increase the likelihood of that happening, but that will be extreme minor, so 1 in 7 billion. The more people who believe anything that will happen, the greater the effect, the combined effect and influence it can be to increase the chance of that thing happening. If many people believe that the world is going to become a peaceful and loving place, that would result in major increases in the likelihood of the world of peace becoming a reality. If everyone believes that the world is going to become a peaceful and living place, then world peace become increasing a reality. Self-fulfilling prophecy works no matter what the expectation. If war and destruction is expected, we will have war and destruction. Much of what is believed is true. It is the future of the human race either to progress through the race consciousness to a future of peace and love, or to succumb to the prevailing wrong influences and perish in a horrible manner in a nuclear war. We are close to the point now where if all human societies do not make the decision to follow the path of peace and love, the disastrous alternative will become a worldwide destruction. As I mentioned in many videos about the effects of societal degradation, environmental degradation, ecological degradation, 6 massive species extinction, so many of the things that is coming, converging today, temperature rising, storms, chaos, typhoon at very high level, sea level rising, so many of this is converging today. And if we all believe that there's no hope, then there'll be no hope. So that's why very important for us as Muslims to have hope in the mercy and the grace of Allah. All right? So we try to fulfill this idea that we're going to be in the 21st century an ummah of hope, an ummah that believes in peace, in justice, in fulfillment, in happiness for everybody. Ourselves, our family, the children, the humanity, the animals, the birds, the bees. Every one of us are the citizen of this universe. So what is important is for us to work out this idea of this self-fulfilling prophecy in the sense of the positive way, because we have negative ways. So there are 2 ways. What do we stimulate into our mind? Okay, because I've explained to you in our earlier video, we have in our realm of existence, we have our akal. Okay, so we call it our, all right, akal. Then we have within us, we have our roh. And we have within us, we have our, all right, our heart or our qalb. All right, and we have within us our jasad. All right, so we have the S, E, M plus P. This P is as we manifested our existence on this world. So our universal values that we have at the SEMP level, this is where we can work either positively, all right, positively, that means we develop our conscious, subconscious, inner thoughts at the spiritual, emotional and mental level, SEMP level. So then, for example, we talk about this idea of world peace, we talk about the idea of love, we talk about this idea of caring, sharing world, we talk about doing good, we talk about being the Caliph of Allah, striving to make ourselves good, helping others to be good, making the world good. So when we do that, we increases the likelihood of this positive event becoming a reality. So this positive event will become a reality. Say we put a time frame which Allah will determine, but we can have a target, say 20 years from now. So what we do is we start working now. All right? But if we infuse ourselves, our family, our country, our society with the negative ideas, for example, if we go the other way around, the negative, we always think about what? We think about strife. Okay, war. We think about war. We think about me. We think about our tribe. We think about, so the whole phenomena that you see that is happening within many Muslim countries are just not Islamic problems. They are problems of tribalism, problems of greed, problem of fractionalism, problems of geopolitics. So much of this nonsense is going on that they are killing each other, and they are continuously killing each other. but they use the label Islam. All right? So this is where we face this tribulation, the terrible tribulation that Muslims are facing in the 21st century. But we have to stop all this nonsense. All right? And to do that, we cannot be doing it alone. So we must have this whole idea of seeking the grace, the love, the mercy of Allah, and make it a self-fulfilling prophecy for us to realize a beautiful world for Muslims, for ourselves, our children, our grandchildren, for non-Muslims, for all the creatures on this earth. So we must envisage that, and we must try to strive towards that direction. Every day of our life, we should do something good for ourselves, something good for the family, something good for the society, something good for the world, something good for everybody. So if we infuse every single Muslim with this idea of the positive outcome, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah of His divine grace, His divine mercy, divine love, will give it to us. Because that is what we ask, that is what we yearn, that is what we feel into our spiritual, emotional and mental self. Because remember, our SEM, our self is linked to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through what? Through His grace, His mercy. So He's showering His grace and mercy into our spiritual self, our emotional self, our mental self, for us to pick the right direction, the right action, the right deeds, the right words, and make this Pygmalion effect a positive effect on our existence on this earth. But we can choose, all right, to do this negative aspect of things, of strife, of war, of hatred, of killing, of no mercy and so on, not only among the Muslims, but the great superpowers, the geopolitical play now of playing with nuclear buttons, trying to bomb this country, that country and so on. These are signs, if they are going to undertake this kind of thing, especially big powers with nuclear arms, they can destroy this earth not one time, but 17 times over. Every single human being will be dead 17 times over. You can imagine this madness. I can't imagine, but it is a reality. The nuclear arms being kept by America, Russia, China, Israel, you name it, Pakistan, India, and all the other, France, England. There are so many so-called nuclear power. They have enough nuclear heads to bomb us out of existence, not one time, but 17 times. This is the collective insanity of human beings. And we're asking for trouble. Because if you have a mad person with the nuclear button, you may have the end of this world. But as long as we are alive, as long as we are breathing, as long as we know that we can do and make a change, our collective effort, Muslims, non-Muslims, everyone, is to make this world a safe world. And out of that grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, exercise this whole thing, the idea of this Pygmalion effect, the self-fulfilling prophecy of a positive world, of goodness, of peace, of happiness, of success for every human being, inshallah.